Reverend Mère Thérèse née Chevrel, Carmelite, 1888, New Orleans. In nomine Patri, et Filii, et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Reverend Mother Thérèse of the Cross Chevrel, first Superior General of the Sisters of Mount Carmel in Louisiana. During the post-Napoleonic restoration of France, the first community of the Sisters of Mount Carmel was established at Tours, France in 1824 from members of a Carmelite Third Order. Father Charles Baudelot, an assistant pastor of St. Francis de Paula Parish in Tours, conceived the idea of bringing together some members of the Third Order as the nucleus of a new religious community. The mission of the congregation was to be the education of young girls and the care of the sick, especially elderly women with no means of support. The Archbishop of Tours, Monsignor de Montblanc, approved the rules and order the same year. The formation process begins and in 1825, Julie Thérèse Chevrel enters the community. In 1826 the sisters adopted the religious habit and Julie Thérèse Chevrel became Sister Thérèse of the Cross Chevrel. By 1828 the community grew rapidly to 50 members and purchased a larger abbey at Bourgal, 35 miles from Tours, for future use once necessary renovations had been made. At the same time Sister Thérèse, who was novice mistress, became superior when their current mother died, professing that Sister Thérèse would cross the sea and that Carmel will live in another country. 1830 brought the July Revolution. Paris was again in revolt and Charles X, King of France, was toppled from his throne. Priests and religious communities were once again under attack. For the Sisters of Mount Carmel this revolt resulted in financial hardship while Father Baudelot was forced to depart Bourgal for Paris. Sister Thérèse was first sent to Vouvray by Father Baudelot at the request of Father Chabert, the cure of Vouvray, and then on to Normandy in 1831. Father Baudelot, while in Paris, meets with Bishop Louis William Tabourg, the former Bishop of New Orleans, who strongly urges Father Baudelot to go over to Louisiana and bring the community of sisters as well. Father Baudelot considers Bishop Tabourg's proposal and arranges for Sister Thérèse and Sister Augustine Clerc to stay in a convent in Paris in the meantime. Father Baudelot then travels to Louisiana, where Bishop Leo de Necker, current Bishop of New Orleans, assigns him to Assumption Parish, which is the area around Paincourtville and Platenville, just west of the Mississippi River. Once settled in, Father Baudelot sends funding to Sister Thérèse and Sister Augustine for a passage to New Orleans from Le Havre. They depart France on September 10, 1833, never to return. After a crossing of 52 days they arrived in New Orleans on November 2, 1833, aboard the steamship Olympia. Bishop Necker had died before their arrival, and Father Antoine Blanc, who later became Bishop Blanc, Vicar General, received the sisters at the old Ursuline convent and assigned them to Platenville, Louisiana, where they opened their first school in May 1834 for girls on attractive land donated to the Diocese of New Orleans by Father Bernardo de Deva, intended for a future seminary. In the meantime Platenville became the cradle of Carmel in the New World. After 4 years in the parish of the Assumption, Bishop Blanc sent the Carmelite sisters back to New Orleans in 1838. The sisters' school in Platenville became St. Vincent de Paul Seminary. Once in New Orleans, Sister Chevrel assumes the administration of the School for Girls of Free Color. This school had previously been conducted by the Ursuline sisters. At the same time Bishop Blanc grants the Carmelite sisters recognition as a religious community in the diocese. 1842, the newly built St. Augustine Church on the corner of Bayou Road and St. Claude Street is blessed and dedicated by Bishop Blanc. St. Augustine's is now the home parish of the Carmelite sisters in Louisiana. 1842, Father Antoine Maigret becomes pastor of the St. John the Evangelist parish in Vermilionville, original name of Lafayette. Father Antoine next invited religious teachers for the children of the parish. Sister Thérèse Chevrel and 3 other sisters of Mount Carmel answered that invitation, and in 1846 the Old Grace Convent, later known as Mount Carmel Convent, was opened for the girls of the parish. 8 students enrolled in the school initially. The sisters withstood a scarlet fever epidemic, a yellow fever epidemic, as well as the hardships of the Civil War. 1853, Father Margaret dies of yellow fever. 1859, the Carmelite community in Louisiana numbered 23 sisters with 2 schools in New Orleans and 1 each in Vermilionville, Thibodaux and Algiers. 1860, Archbishop Blank dies suddenly in New Orleans. 1861 to 1865, the war years, many hardships and little growth. 1869 sisters take charge of New Orleans Orphan Asylum. In 1870 the Sisters of Mount Carmel opened a day and boarding school in New Iberia. 1870 Sister Augustine Clerk dies, age 74. In 1876, Father Jean-Baptiste Lassalle, pastor of St. Elizabeth Church, wrote to Reverend Mother Therese of the Order of Mount Carmel in New Orleans, asking that she send sisters to teach the young girls of Pinkertville. Reverend Mother agreed to do this. Prior to the sisters' arrival, St. Elizabeth Church purchased a tract of land from the Aladin family for a convent and school. The house on the purchased property was converted into the convent and school. The sisters arrived on May 10, 1876, to open St. Elizabeth School, a boarding and day school for young ladies. The sisters were received with open arms by the happy parishioners of Pinkertville. 1878 Yellow fever claims for Carmelite sisters at the New Orleans convent. In 1885 Father Alexander Michaud requested sisters for Abbeville, Louisiana. Mount Carmel Abbeville was the last of Mother Therese Chevrel's foundations. 1888, December 21, Sister Therese Chevrel dies age 82. Amen. Benedicat vos omnipotens Deus, Pater, et Filius, et Spiritus Sanctus. Amen.